It's technically America. There's more Jews in America than there are in all of Israel.
Good start to the video.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's a fact. Look it up. Google what country has the most Jewish people in it, and it's going to be America.
Probably.
But that's like saying LA is the biggest Canadian city. Because I've heard that there are so many Canadians in LA that if LA was a Canadian city, it would be bigger than Toronto, based on the Canadians that live there.
Probably doesn't have the highest average per people.
No, not per capita. Judaism would probably be Israel. But strict amount of people in it that are Jewish. Well, let's find out. No, I should have put outside of Israel. Oh, see, that's wrong. That's not what I want. No, I don't want by European areas. I want biggest Jewish population country. Let's try that. Oh, no! Israel just overtook America in 2013. Wow! You learn something new every day. I did not know that. Now let's learn some math. Okay. Draw two lines that are parallel. Okay, so let's draw our first line. Okay? So somewhere in the top left quadrant, somewhere on the left, the negative side of the x-axis, put a dot. Give me an x-intercept. Doesn't matter where it is. Give me one. I'm going to put mine right there at negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Negative 7. Amazing. There's a 1 in 8 chance. I bet a few other people have it as well. Okay, everybody cool? Yeah? Okay. Now put a dot at somewhere on the y-axis, positive y-axis. Doesn't matter where. I put mine at 3. What is that slope? It's positive. Excellent. And what is it? For me, it's negative 3 over negative 7. If I go that way, yeah? You guys all can find your own slope, yeah? You've drawn your own. I'm going to draw mine. Mine is 3 over 7, yeah? Because I have 7 and 3. Everybody cool? Everyone agree? Yeah? Okay. Now, what do I know about that black line? Yeah? And what do I know about it? It's positive slope. What else do I know about it? Does it stop there? No, that is only 2 points on the line out of how many? Infinite. Okay? Now, if I drop this line, this first dot, you take your y-intercept and move it down 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 6. Everybody cool? Now take your x-intercept and move it down 6 spaces. And connect those dots. What do you know? Why? Because they're never going to touch, are they? Is it possible for these things to touch? No. Why? Where's the next dot going to be on here? Up 3 and over 7, yeah? And where's the next one going to be after that? Up 3 and over 7, correct? Where's this next one going to be? Up 3 and over 7, up 3 and over 7. Will they ever bump into each other? No. So what does that tell us about parallel lines? Line 1 is parallel to line 2 if their slopes are the same. Everybody okay with that? That's really what parallel means. We talked about how it means they aren't going to touch. What it really means is that their slopes are the same. Okay? Everybody good with that? Yeah? Okay. That's all we need to talk about there. We'll come back to some more with it in a minute. In the next section, I need you to draw a line down the middle of the box. Because perpendicular requires two pieces of explanation. Okay? Everybody good? All right. First of all, what does perpendicular mean? Does anybody actually know? I'll tell you right now, in this room, there are a lot of perpendicular corners. Bryce. Brad.
Two lines that intersect make 90 degrees.
Anytime two lines hit at 90 degrees, they're perpendicular to each other. Is everybody cool with that? Okay. So, on the left side of this graph, please draw the easiest kind of perpendicular line to draw, which would be straight up along one of these lines, and then how do I make something perpendicular to it? Straight through. Does everybody agree that that has to be perpendicular? Based on what we know of this graph, x's go left to right, y's go up and down, that has to be 90 degrees, yes? So remember, this is the two-part definition. So I'm going to call line 1 here, and I'm going to make line 2 red. Okay? Everybody okay with that? All right, now, we know that these lines are going to go on forever, yeah? But let's pretend we only want the slope of this section of the line. So line 1, slope is always rise over run, isn't it? Right? So what is line 1's rise from there to there on my sheet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do we agree? Everybody cool? So what's its rise? 8. What's its run? 0. Now we know that's impossible, but I want you to leave it written that way. Does everybody understand that that's the rise over run? Yeah? Okay. Now, the red line. Red. From this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I didn't go far enough. There we go. Everybody cool? So the red line, line 2, has a rise over run as well. What's its rise? 0. What's its run? Yep. 8. What do you notice? That's not quite the right word. What's that word for when the fraction flips? They're reciprocals. I know you don't remember math words. That's why I'm making a big deal out of it. Everybody remember that word? We've used the word reciprocal this year. Right? It's how we divide fractions. No, it's how we divide fractions. You multiply by the reciprocal. Done it a million times. Yeah? All right. Now, over in this section, I want you to draw me a line that has a slope of positive 1. Okay? So, I'm going to go from 0, 0, 0, to 5, 5. Everybody okay with that? So everybody put that on your graph. 0, 0 to 5, 5. Let's call him line 3. Everybody good with that? Yeah, yeah? Yeah, 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 yeah. You sure? You betcha? Yeah? Okay. Now, give me a slope from 0, 0 of negative 1, going down into here. So what would that be? That would be out to 5, and then where? To get a slope of negative 1. I need to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everyone agree? Everyone is good? Then I would connect them, and I would make that line 4. Everybody cool? Everybody cool? All right. Now, based on what you know, since I've gone this way and this way the same amount, how many degrees are there in that section? 45. And how many degrees are in that section? 45. So we know this has to be 90, yes? So we know this is perpendicular, don't we? Everyone cool? Right? Okay. So what is line 3's slope? Rise over run. What is it? I went up 5 and over 1, yes? Oh, over 5, yes? So it's 5 over 5, or 1. You cool? Right? Now, we know that line 4 must be flipped, right? Because they have to be reciprocals, yes? Everyone cool? So we know that line 4, if we flip it, it's 5 over 5, but doesn't that make the slopes exactly the same? Which would make them parallel, wouldn't it? But it's not. What is this guy's slope? Negative 5 over 5. So that is why I use 2 steps to teach you what makes something perpendicular. Because not only are they reciprocals, they're also negative. Does everybody understand why? Okay. So, parallel lines have the same slope. Now, how many different versions do we have for slope? There's m. What else? What else do we know that gives a slope? There's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What else? Starts with an R. Ends with an E. Has ice in the middle of it. Rise over. Good, I didn't want to do that one. Rise over run. All of them would be the same, right? So what does that mean? That means if I have coordinates and a graph, these two would be the same, wouldn't they? Right? Or if I have an equation, y equals mx plus b, the m would be another y2 minus y1 from another line. Everybody good? They have the same slope because they're never going to touch. Everybody okay? This is the symbol. Parallel symbol is this. 2 lines up and down. So what we did in here, how you write it, line 1 is parallel to line 2. And that means the slopes are the same. Okay? Everybody good? All right. Perpendicular lines have slopes that do what 2 things? What are the 2 things that make a slope perpendicular? Slopes that are reciprocated and what else? You wrote it like 2 seconds ago. Reciprocated and negative. And the symbol is this. L. Line 1 is perpendicular. An upside down T is perpendicular to line 2. Okay, now what does that mean in math class? That means M, what's perpendicular to M, would be 1 over negative M. See? Because the M is normally over 1, isn't it? So we flip it and change the sign. Okay? What would I do to this to make it perpendicular? Flip it. So it would be what? It would be, just flip it, guys. Flip this. x2 minus x1 over y2 minus y1, and that would have to be negative. That would be the reciprocal, or the perpendicular slope. Everybody cool? And what would be the perpendicular slope in this case? Negative run over rise. Is everybody good with that? All you do is flip it and change the sign. Cool? All right, let's see if you really do understand what I am saying. Line 1 is 2 over 3. What's the perpendicular line? Say it louder, Andrew, because you're right. Negative 3 over 2, because I flip it and change the sign. Now somebody other than Andrew. Slope of negative 7. What's perpendicular to it? Positive 1 over 7, because I flip it and change the sign. Slope of 4. A parallel line has what slope? A parallel line has what slope? 4. Negative 5 over 11. A perpendicular line is what? You're right about the 11 and 5. What do you got to do with the sign? Change it. It was negative, so now it's positive. That's it. Flip it, change the sign. Everybody good? Now, these of course are the last ones. If the slope is 0, what kind of line is that? Flat or vertical? Flat. So the perpendicular slope must be the vertical one. There's 0. What's that guy's slope? Undefined. Now, you guys aren't stupid. If I start here with undefined, what's perpendicular? 0. Is everybody good with parallel and perpendicular lines? It's easy peasy, yeah? It's the exact same thing we've already done, except in one case. If it's perpendicular, the slope has to switch, right? The slope has to be completely opposite. So flip it and change the sign. Is everybody good with that? Let's see. Start with the first one. ST, I have to decide if it's parallel, perpendicular, or neither to AB. So what are the two things I'm comparing as soon as I see the words parallel, perpendicular, or neither? What are the two things I need to compare? Slopes. So I must be comparing the slope of what? ST, and I must be comparing that to the slope of AB, correct? Now, since I have no graph paper, what's the best way to find these slopes right now? y2, y1, x1, x2, x1. So ST uses which points? Obviously the points labeled S and T. And which point does AB use? Obviously the points labeled AB. So let's work that out. What is ST? What am I going to write here? I'll remind you. Who decides which is which? So somebody decide, please. Somebody talk to me about what to write.
Right.
5 minus minus 1. Is there anybody that doesn't understand why Bryce has said that? You must say so now, because if you don't, you're going to be screwed for the rest of the day, and actually, quite frankly, the rest of the unit. And quite frankly, the rest of the year, because the last 3 units are all based on this. Is there anybody that doesn't understand what Bryce did there? Okay. Do you understand that this is a y value? Do you understand that this is a y value? Do you understand that those y values are different? So therefore, we can't call them both y. Because if we call them both y, they'd have to be the same, wouldn't they? So Bryce has decided that that is y2 and that is y1. y2, 5, 5. Are you okay? Minus y1. y1 is negative 1. So he's written minus negative 1. Are you good? Excellent. Now that means, Mikey, if you are good, you can now tell me what x2 is. What is it? Negative 1 minus, and what is x1? Negative 4. Absolutely correct. And what is that answer? Some of you are going to say this out loud wrong. So I'm going to talk longer to give you more time to think about it, so none of you say the wrong answer and make me cry for not teaching you good math. So I'm going to continue to talk until I run out of this breath, so nobody is going to be embarrassed and make me feel bad about myself. Are you all okay with that? I'm about to run out of breath. Does everyone have an answer to the numerator of this problem? Ooh, what is it, Alicia? It is 6, because 5 minus minus 1 is the same as 5 plus 1. Over what? 3. That is absolutely correct. Is there a better way we would write that slope? What? 2 is the best way, but because we are comparing two slopes, we should keep a rise and a run, shouldn't we? So what would this really be? 2 over what? 2 over 1. Everybody cool? All right, now we're going to do the same thing with AB. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, who decides? You decide. What do you want to make y2 in our green highlights? Go ahead, Alicia, start talking.
1 and negative 1.
So you're going to have this guy, you're going to make this guy y2. You're badass, you've changed the order. Does it matter? No, because it's a different line. So if she makes this y2, that makes this guy y1, yeah? So what would you write, Alicia?
1 minus negative 1.
1 minus negative 1 over?
1 minus 5.
Okay. Now again, I'm going to start talking while you think of this answer.
2.
2 over?
4.
Should have talked longer.
Negative 4.
Negative 4. Would we leave it like that? No, what is it?
It's y is negative 1.
It's 1/2, and it's negative. What do you notice about the two slopes? Are they reciprocals? Yes, because the 2 over 1 is switched to 1 over 2. Are they negative of each other? That guy's positive, that guy's negative. So that means line ST is what to line AB? What symbol goes in the middle? Parallel, perpendicular, or nothing? What is it? It is perpendicular. Can everybody do it? Can everybody do it? What have we learned that's new today? Anything?
I learned the word athletic.
You learned what perpendicular means in math class, yeah? You already knew what it meant in the world, where a wall and a floor meet are perpendicular. You already knew that. So you learned 2 new things today. Plus, that Israel has a bigger Jewish population than the United States now. 3 new things today. You're on a roll. 4 new things today because you also learned that I fell off a rock, broke my toe, and concussed myself. All right. Read that question. Number 2. Are there any words in there that you don't know? I'm pretty sure not all of you know one of those words. Vertices. Do you know what the vertices are?
Trying to remember, I should.
What is it? It's the corner.
Oh, yeah, right.
But there's vertices. That means there's more than one. What's one corner? Vertex. Right? So there's the vertices of this triangle, which means there's how many corners? There's 3 corners, yes? Now, read the rest of the question. Is the triangle a right triangle? If it's a right triangle, then one of those corners must have what? One of those corners must be what? Must be perpendicular, yes? Which means I need to check the slopes of all 3 corners, don't I? Do I? No, I don't. Because obviously, 2 of the corners are not going to be 90 degrees, are they? One of them will be. So what could we do to decide which corners to check? What could help us? Say it out loud, Nick. Okay, we could... What do you mean by that? I didn't think that's what you said. Oh, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. You're seeing that 3 and 1 and 2 and 6 are kind of related, right? Because 3 doubles to 6, 1 doubles to 2. Yeah, I see what you're saying. That's a good spot you could start with. I'd never even thought of that. Good. We'll come back to that because that's not where I wanted to go, but I'm glad you said that because I think that might help later on. While I'm doing all this work, this side of my brain is going to be working out a way to do something with what you just said. What else could you do? Do you know how to draw this triangle?
Well, yeah.
Could you sketch it?
No, I don't know.
So if you gave yourself a Cartesian plane, could you sketch this thing? Where would point A be? Which I'm going to do with a black dot. Where would I put that? So where would I go, Mikey? A little to the left and up a little bit. Everybody cool with that? So that's A. I'm going to put a blue dot for B. Where's B? Where B? Right, 6. So I got to go double this far, right? Because this was only 3, so I got to go way out to about here, yeah? And then where? Down 2. Are we happy with that? Is that good enough for a sketch? Okay, and where's C, which I'll put with a green dot? To the right, 3, which is half of where we just went, and up 4. Cool? And then I can put that line in there. Now, you guys are smart kids. From a sketch, what is the only possibility of 90 degrees here? Has to be here, yes? So what are the slopes I need to check? AC, I need the slope of AC and CB. And I'm checking if, question mark, are they perpendicular? That's what I got to check, yeah? So what is the slope of AC? What numbers do I need for A and C? You guys can talk me through this. You know it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So for AC, what numbers do I need? One minus 4. Perfect. Since Mikey said this one first, I'm going to make him y2, which makes this guy y1, yeah? So over what? Minus 3. Perfect. What's 1 minus 4, Mikey? Negative 3 over negative 3 minus 3? Negative 6, 2 negatives make a, so the slope is 1/2, yes? So if this is 90 degrees, then this slope must be what? That side flipped, 2 over 1 and negative, yeah? Well, let's check. CB, what are the letters I'll be using for CB? Now, I already labeled C as y1. Can I leave it that way? I can if I want, can't I? So if I've made this guy y1, what does that make that 2? y2. So Mikey, walk me through this. What am I writing? Negative 2 minus 4 over 6 minus 3, right? What is negative 2 minus 4? Negative 6. What is 6 minus 3? 3. What is negative 6 divided by 3? Negative 2, which is technically negative 2 over 1, isn't it? Is it 90 degrees? So is it a right triangle? Yes. Now, Nick, let's talk about you. You were saying, well, I see something with the 3s and the 6s. Except AB went here, yeah? So, I don't know how much that could have helped us. It looks like it should help us, doesn't it? It looks like it should be our buddy, because 3 and 6, like I really like that you noticed that. But when we inspect it further, we see that that path would not have helped us. Because that would have only given us one slope, yeah? Just A and B. And we needed to check 2 slopes because we needed to see what the corner was. Picking up what I'm putting down? Good pattern to see. But upon further inspection, it wasn't going to be useful to us because it only gave us one slope. Everybody cool? Okay, turn the page over to number 3. So, what does this sentence tell us about the slope of AB compared to the slope of CD if they're parallel? What symbol would go there? The 2 vertical lines. Right? The question tells us that. But once we know they're parallel, then what do we know about their slopes? Their slopes must be what? Must be equal. Correct? So if I know the slope of AB and I know the slope of CD, they'd have to be exactly the same, don't they? Well, what is the slope of AB? Do I have all the parts I need to find the slope of AB? I do, don't I? What is the slope of AB? What order would you write it in? 10 minus 5 over 7 minus 3. Is that okay? All right. Could I also write 5 minus 10 over 3 minus 7? Is that okay? Sure it is. 10 minus 5 is 5. 7 minus 3 is 4, yeah? 5 minus 10 is negative 5. 3 minus 7 is negative 4. Two negatives make a positive. They're the same thing. Cool? So we have one slope, don't we? Now the other slope, if they're parallel, this would have to equal CD, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? So what's CD? A minus 2 over 1 minus 0, which is 1. But I'm going to write it all out, because if I write it out every time, I can't screw it up, can I? Hey, I know what to do when it's fraction equals fraction. What do? What's 5 times 1? 5. What's 4 times a minus 2? 4a minus 8. Do I know how to solve that? What do I do with this negative 8? Add to both sides. 13 equals 4a. What do I do now? Divide by what? 4. So a equals 13 over 4. We just did a ton of work, right? If this was a provincial, what would you see now? 4 choices, right? Agreed? Okay. Here's choice 1. Here's choice 2. Here's choice 3. Here's choice 4. What's the right answer? Alicia. Pardon? All of the above. How many of you will screw up, do all that work, and circle that as soon as you see it without reading the other choices? Most of you need to put your hand up, because most of you will. Or worse, you'll do this. Negative 3.25, which is obviously wrong. How many of you for that question will circle A? Again, all of you need to put your hand up, because you will. You will not read the choices, because you cannot bear the thought of spending one more millisecond in a math test, even though it's worth marks. You will see the right answer that you got, and you will circle it. Will you be wrong? Well, we got 2 sleepies today. So cute. Get them a little house, like I had in kindergarten, where you could go and silent read. But it was really just a nap house. Okay? So remember, not only am I teaching you math, I'm teaching you how to go about solving your problems on your provincial exams. That's one of the problems about having the videos, right? You don't really have to stay awake in class. You really don't even need to come to class.
Can I shake them?
No. Now, line B is now perpendicular. Right? Okay. Well, if they're perpendicular, remember back in our notes, we said if line AB, if it's perpendicular, then the m over 1 must be the same as 1 over negative m, correct? But that doesn't help us, does it? Because I don't have my m's, do I? Okay, so we can't use that version. All right, well, the other way we got m was this. Correct? Does that version help us? Do I have x's and y's? Do I have x's and y's? So does that version help us? Yeah, because I have x's and y's, don't I? So if they're perpendicular, what happens? It flips, so the x's go up to the top, and the y's go to the bottom. And what happens to this whole side? It would have to be negative, correct? Does everyone agree that that would make perpendicular? Bryce? I'm going to get to that, yeah. Yes, of course you can do that as well. Okay? So, does everybody agree that this would work? Okay? All right, we're going to stop there for a moment. Bryce says, well, okay, wait a minute, Mr. Myers. If AB was 5/4, which we knew, yes? What would it have to be perpendicular? Perpendicular to that is -4/5. Then, could you do this? Could you bring this down there? Would that work? Would that work? Let's check. Does everybody understand that one? Because I just flipped this sign and then we got the same slope, yeah? Or I could do this. On this side, we already knew line AB was 5/4, didn't we? Didn't we? And we knew that this had to flip. These are my x's, aren't they? Or my y's, yeah? So where do they have to go? To the bottom. And where do these x's have to go? Where would these have gone? To the top, and it would be negative, right? Now, how do I solve this? What's the answer? 5a minus 10 equals -4, correct? Everybody cool? Plus 10, plus 10, 5a equals 6. A equals 6/5. Everybody cool? Now what did Bryce do? He flipped the first one, but left the second one. Let's check. Did it work? -4 times 1 is -4 equals 5a minus 10. Plus 10, plus 10. 6 equals 5a. What did a equal? Did it work? What did he have to do? As long as he did what to one of the slopes? Nick? Flipped it, which has a word. Reciprocate. And change the sign. Because if we started negative, it would have changed to a positive, right? As long as he flips and changes the sign on one of the slopes, you can do any perpendicular calculation. Is everyone okay? Both of these get you the same answer. This one, he flipped the first one. This one, I flipped the second one. They're both the same. Everybody cool? As long as one of them flips. The mistake you guys are going to make is you're going to flip them both. How many have to flip? One. Everybody cool? And then, even though this algebra is pretty easy, how will they make it hard in the provincial? By messing with the answers, yes? A will be 6/5. B will be 1 1/5. C will be 1.2, and D will be all. Yes, it is D. Is it always going to be D? No. How many of you, from what I've said, are now always going to circle all of the above? The exact not thing I am trying to teach you. What is the point of me doing this whenever I do it, which I do a lot?
Because they're cruel on the provincials.
But why am I reminding you of this? What is my end game? To get you to do what?
Pass.
No.
Be good at math.
No.
To do all the work, to make sure you get the answer right, or so you're on the right track.
To do all your work and then check how many choices? All your choices. Don't look for just your answer, because they like to do crap like this, because this allows them to see how many people are thinking and how many people are trained monkeys. Do you understand the difference? Because believe it or not, with enough practice, and if I gave you enough bananas, I could train you guys to get an A on the provincial exam every time. But would you actually know how to do the math? No. And since it's a multiple choice test, and every answer is already there, isn't it? Could you not try every single one of these answers back in the question? You have 3 hours. It's enough time, isn't it? So they have to do stuff in multiple choice tests to trip you up like this. That's what it's there for. Because the answer is written on the sheet, isn't it? You've essentially been given all the right answers to the whole test, haven't you? Right? Okay. We are done. On your outline, remember, it seems simple, but make sure you do some of this at least before you attempt your next page in your notes, which should look like this. It should say practice 1 to 7. It does it not? Okay. We're going to mark it. Now here's what this part means. Do yourselves a favor. Practice on the textbook for parallel and perpendicular lines. But notice that this page has other stuff on it, doesn't it? It's not just parallel and perpendicular lines. What you should do is attempt this at home tonight, because I'm going to give you 10 minutes right now. Attempt this at home tonight and attempt it like a quiz. What do I mean by that? No notes and time yourself. Try to keep it under 15 minutes. Okay? We're going to mark it as an assignment. Now you guys know assignments aren't worth that much, right? So if you're smart, for you guys, your best move is to try this as a quiz. You might get a bad mark, but since it's only an assignment, it won't hurt you very much. I can't stop you from using your notes, but you really should try. You understand what I'm saying? Because the worst thing that happens is you might lose 0.1% by the end of the year if you do badly on this or don't do it at all. But you need the practice of doing questions like this with no help. No notes, no answers in the back of the book, nothing. Picking up what I'm putting down?